It brings an important point to that conversation of, have we not, as a society, reckoned with the value of educating on mental health and therefore educating on mental performance or the skills that can be attributed on that as a society? Is it where is the root of all of this? We hear Simone Biles goes, I have in baseball we'll call it the yips. I forgot what she called it, the spins, where she's the best in the world at what she does and maybe the best ever in gymnastics, and goes, because of all this pressure, because of all these factors, and where I'm at as a person or where I'm at as an athlete, I have the spins. And she's in the Olympics. She's at the highest point. She's worked her entire life for that moment. And many talking heads in the media, many people had mentioned that, oh, too bad. She should just do it or suck it up. And you hear Kevin Love and the anxiety attacks he's gone through. And you hear about these different athletes that have gone through suicidal ideations and the issues that come with performing at a high level and getting paid to do that work and the effects that it has on you and the effects it has on your family and back onto your performance. And from what I've heard over the last years and since I was playing, well, I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope he finds that education or solace. I hope he finds or she finds a network of support. And it brings me back to the reason why you and me are having this conversation, the reason why we exist, the reason why Mind Ready will ultimately be a successful entity in terms of how many athletes we're going to have on board, the amount of lives we're going to affect, the amount of coaches we're going to have and be able to build a foundation of their education. The reason why I exist is to solve a problem. The problem is perpetuated because of a society that doesn't value mental health education. But as someone who's educated in this field, or the field of learning and the field of education, do I have it wrong? Or in your eyes, where is the root of why these situations happen and why there needs to be a solution to it?
Man, that's awesome. That exploration that you just laid out. And I think, now, I'm sure there are plenty of answers. First of all, disclaimer, I don't have the only answer, but I do have thoughts. And I think that in your asking of this question, I think that you also kind of identified what I believe is a major contributor. Excuse me. And I'll talk about it. I'll try to give it in an example. At one point in time, I was a professor, and in the academic realm, granted, they talk about it being the ivory tower, and some of the thoughts are I think misaligned, but there was space. Like, there was space to just think about thinking, to just think about things. And I think you can relate it to art in a way. You know, this like exploration of ideas and concepts with no set idea on where you want those to go. Or, in other words, no actual problem yet to solve. On the other hand, I'm now in the business world, the corporate world, where that learning now is directed at something. It's not a free-flowing, who am I? It's I already haven't, whether it's you dictated it to yourself or it's dictated to someone else, which is why people are talking about aligning values with you and the company now, but that's another conversation maybe. But now when that learning is directed at something, what it has done, I think, is place biases or structures around what you can actually think about already, or you could even think about it maybe as who you can be. And so, to take your example, so it becomes this idea of like output versus exploration maybe, but to now link what your example of Simone Biles, perhaps the GOAT, was she ever, at any point in time, was she ever given the opportunity to just explore what her body can do? Hopefully. Like, hopefully so. Like, because her body does amazing things. Like, so many athletes' bodies do incredible things, and that's part of the reason why we'll pay so much money to watch that or sit in the front of the TV and while I'll watch the Spurs tonight. But when that is all aimed now at a problem, then we start feeling the pressure, right? Because everything now has that meaning of solving a problem, and it's not value intrinsic. It's not, I do it because I can. It's, I do it because I have to because of, and then all the external meanings that we place on that based on, you know, our conditioning, where we're coming from, what our parents or family may want, what our friends may want, what the nation wants, the coach, the team, all, you know, I mean, just name it. And so that, to me, like, we don't live in a, like, in the United States, in the Western world, even if I can go that far, we don't value, I think, exploration as much. So much so that, you know, like, I mean, you can just look at some memes that really discount art, you know, and someone who literally, like, put their heart and soul into something, and then it's like, oh, well, how, I mean, you know, like, what will that do for us? Or, like, what's that value? Or, you know, someone tapes a banana to a wall and it's like, oh, that's art. Like, I mean, I get sometimes, like, you know, it doesn't matter to some people, but that doesn't matter. And so in some senses, if we were to look at sport and physical culture more as an expression of things and as art, and not even like art to get tens at the Olympics, right? But like art for the sake of itself, Cirque du Soleil, for instance, where people do incredible things, hand balancing and a lot of gymnastics types of stuff. There's fulfillment there, and the United States and the West just doesn't value that at all. It's about the job that you're going to get right out of college. I mean, when you went to Trinity, right? Like, I mean, I'm sure that there were a lot of people already asking you before you even started what you were going to do. So